Hello everybody and welcome to the Grand Prix review then for the Singapore Grand Prix. A little bit different to normal as well. We're outside for a change as well in the cold, to be fair, as well, but it's better than being in the commentary box for a little bit as well. Let's get on then with what happened yesterday and start off with the Singapore Grand Prix. We had to wait over an hour and 45 minutes for the start procedure to even begin again after a massive downpour of rain as well. The FIA very smartly decided to abort the start procedure completely. Now, usually the scheduled start time, which yesterday was at 8 o'clock local time as well, that as soon as we reached that time, the 3-hour clock would have started, and then somewhere in that 3 hours, the 2-hour Grand Prix would have had to have taken place to any extent. Now, because of the rain forecast as well, we knew it was pretty much unlikely that that was going to happen. So the race director, Eduardo Freitas, decided to completely delay the start procedure over an hour as well, and then finally we got going. The formation lap started at 9:05 local time, before of course the 11 p.m. cut-off point as well for the race to start, and that of course meant we didn't end on Monday. We did eventually have a Grand Prix, but it took a very, very long time to start. For instance as well, when the race actually got going, everybody started on intermediate tyres as well. That's because of the humidity factor of where we are in Singapore as well. It's right on the line of the equator as well, so the humidity is quite high as well. So the wettest parts of the track dried out quite quickly as well, but it didn't dry off enough to put us onto dry tyres for over 32 laps of the 61 scheduled Grand Prix, which meant most of the running was done on intermediate tyres. After just 11 laps as well, even 5 laps, there was massive gaps in the field as well, because not everybody was hooking up the intermediate tyres as well as everybody else was. So we really were struggling for ideas as well. But in my opinion, it was the best of the rest situations. Now, let's get on to the race then. Charles Leclerc did start on pole position, but it was Sergio Perez who took the lead at the start, and for the first time in his Formula 1 career, led every single lap and ended up taking victory as well with a remarkable effort. Well done to Sergio Perez. Now, under the last safety car, he did come alongside the safety car and sort of say, hurry up as well. He was called to the stewards. He was found that he had breached the 10-car length rule 3 times in the Grand Prix and was given 1 5-second time penalty. So the 7.5 second lead he had was reduced to a 2.595 second victory margin over Charles Leclerc. Very fair penalty in my opinion. So it's Sergio Perez victorious, with Charles Leclerc second and Carlos Sainz finishing in third position, as well as you can see with the timing graphic alongside me. Right, let's move on then and go further down. Charles Leclerc second, Carlos Sainz third. Great job for Ferrari today as well. A pair of them having a very, very good race. Great strategy calls as well. Leclerc explaining after the race that it wasn't so much that he was suffering with car fatigue and the tyres not working, but he was suffering with fatigue as well, was the reason why he couldn't get higher up on the field as well and catch Sergio Perez, and he backed off, as I said, 7.5 seconds he lost later on. Carlos Sainz, great strategy all day as well, finishing third. The two McLarens benefiting from the two Alpines retiring as well, and their constructors battle they've had with each other as well. Great finally for McLaren to get good scoring points. Danny Ricciardo was told on the radio to hold station. Now, Lando was put on the slick tyres, he was on the medium tyre compound. Ricciardo was put onto the soft tyre compound, the C5s, and was told hold station behind Lando so that at the end of the race you'd have fresher tyres. But McLaren never let Ricciardo have that advantage further on in the race. So in my opinion, it was a missed opportunity, and once again showing that McLaren now favour Norris definitely over Ricciardo. It's not the first time it's happened this season as well. Further down in the field, Lance Stroll in 6th position as well, with Sebastian Vettel in 8th. A double point score finish for Aston Martin. Martin for only the second time this season. Mighty good performance for them on a track that was the great leveller anyway. With the addition of the rain, it was just even better for them. Sebastian Vettel was in 7th, Lewis Hamilton was 9th, but it was Sebastian Vettel who managed to get to the front of their little battle as well. He finished in 7th after a very entertaining battle between the three champions as well earlier on in the race. As I said, Lewis Hamilton finished in 9th position after starting higher up the grid in 3rd place. He had an absolute horrific race as well. Locked up, went straight into the wall, damaged the nose and had to pit for a new one as well, dropped him outside the positions. But Max Verstappen also had a difficult day, locking up as well, trying to pass George Russell on the safety car restart, went straight on as well and had to do a loop manoeuvre down at turn 7. Pierre Gasly finished in the top 10 as well and rounded out the points paying position. A remarkable race for him. Bottas was P11 for Alfa Romeo, Kevin Magnussen 12th, Mick Schumacher 13th. Disappointing day for Haas after being strong in qualifying. They should have really had a better performance today. Didn't seem to turn out that way. Russell was 14th as well. He was the first driver to go onto slicks, was just pedalling around for 10 laps as well until they finally started to heat up. By then he'd lost any advantage it was, but it was still a good call from Mercedes. He was already out of it, but Russell also battling with Mick Schumacher several times in the race, and unfortunately as well making contact with him. Russell came in with the radio saying don't know what he was doing there and what happened there. Quite simple, George, you turned in on Mick Schumacher into turn 1, so it wasn't really his fault. Out of the race, Yuki Tsunoda retired as well after crashing into the wall at the Singapore Sling as well, bringing out the safety car. Disappointment for him. Esteban Ocon retired at the Anderson Bridge, an engine failure for him, it went up in smoke. Alexander Albon retired after contact as well into the wall and a broken suspension. Exactly the same as Nicholas Latifi's teammate, also retiring after he made contact at turn 4 with Zhou Guan Yu, and Fernando Alonso retiring with an engine problem as well, down also at the Singapore Sling. Now, what this means for the Drivers' Championship as well, it doesn't really change much. Max Verstappen still leads that on 341 points. Charles Leclerc second, 237. Sergio Perez third, 235. But all this means for sure is that Max Verstappen can now clinch the title next time out in Japan a lot easier than what he could have as well. But still, only 7th for him today and a 1-2 for Perez and Leclerc, with Perez winning and Leclerc second, so it was pretty much a nightmare scenario for him as well. Looking forward then as well in the W Series, it was a great race. Jamie Chadwick didn't be the champion there, unfortunately. She crashed out, her first ever retirement in a W Series race. A lot of fatigue around W Series at the moment as well. There's a rumour they're not going to be in America. The cars, I've been told by Daniel from Grid Network, the cars are already at the circuit because this weekend in Singapore we ran with the New Zealand Toyota cars. The normal W Series cars are already at COTA. Whether or not though they've got the finances, we don't know, but this week is the deadline for the W Series to see if they can actually make it to the last 2 races as well. 1 race at COTA, 2 races at Mexico to round out the season. We'll see if they make it. Other than that, it's been quite an interesting little race this weekend. It's been a bit of, was it a good race? Was it a bad race? I would say it's sort of slap bang in the middle of what it was like as well. Here's your coverage details then for this weekend's Japanese Grand Prix. No rest for the wicked. It's a back-to-back for the teams as well, and it's a harder back-to-back than normal as well, because you're going from night race, staying on European time, to the Japanese Grand Prix where you've got to change your timetable again. We're on air as well Thursday evening for the drivers' press conference with Grand Prix Preview live, and then we'll be live for first practice. We're on air at 3:45am. Session starts at 4. Practice 2, 6:45, starts at 7. On the Saturday, again, same times, 3:45 for practice 3. Session starts at 4. Qualifying on air 6:40, starts at 7. And the race on Sunday, we're on air with the pre-recorded pre-show 4:45. We'll be live at 5:20 as well for the walk to the grid. Lights out for the Japanese Grand Prix at 6am as well, and hopefully as well. Max Verstappen being claimed a world championship. You can listen to all that. Will be live in America as well on USON2 via the Mixler app, and as well, let's hope we will crown a champion at Suzuka once again. We'll be back then in 5 days' time for the Japanese Grand Prix, but from Singapore, it's definitely Sergio Perez, who seems to be making a habit of this. Wet to dry conditions on street circuits, Monaco, and now Singapore, his 4th career win. But this one definitely was one of his best. Up there with his first win at Shakir when he came back from last to first. He seems to be a master. Last to first challenges he can do, and he can hold it at the front. Well done, Sergio Perez. We'll see you in Japan. Bye for now.